Hello, Physical Science from Wisconsin Connections Academy. This is Mrs. Peachy, your science teacher, and today we are going to do a tutorial on the portfolio classifying reactions. Now, some of you may be surprised to get this tutorial so early because in the planner, classifying reactions does not actually take place until a little bit later. However, even though you turn in the portfolio in about a week, you actually need to start working on it this week to make sure you have time for all of the reactions to take place. So one of the things you'll notice is on your planner, just gonna kind of get that stuff up here. Okay, so I'm just bringing my planner up for you to look at real quick. On Monday the 5th, you're going to see the lab classifying reactions on your planner, and it's a 2-day portfolio. And when you click on this and it brings you to the lesson viewer, and I can kind of scroll over here and open up the course tree, you're going to see that even though this is where I am on lesson 7, you don't turn in this portfolio until lesson 12. And that might really kind of lead some of you into believing that you need to start it a little bit later, or perhaps, being a little bit on the procrastinating side and not starting it until the week it's due. It is very important that you start it when it is assigned, so you can make sure that you have time to get all of those reactions completed. So for this one, you will need to have some supplies, and when you get to the actual lesson and you go over to slide number 3 of 3, you'll see here that there's a link to access the lab, and I can click on that and that will open up a PDF. And it's going to give you an idea of what you need to do and what you need to use for materials. So for this first lab, you're going to need ammonia. Now, ammonia can be found with cleaning products in the cleaning products aisle. It should not be next to the bleach because ammonia is very toxic when mixed with bleach. However, it should be probably down the aisle a ways from the bleach, kind of with the detergents, and sometimes it's fine by laundry stuff or otherwise by cleaning, like household cleaning supplies. You also need to have some small glass jars. Baby food jars work well for this, as well as like maybe little jelly jars sometimes can work pretty well. If you have someone in the family that does canning, you can find canning jars, the small ones, to can little jellies and jams. I know Fleet Farm has those available. Some steel wool. Now this is plain steel wool, not an SOS pad. You do not want the detergent on it like an SOS pad, so just plain old steel wool, and water. And here you're going to be seeing how the steel wool is going to react with oxygen over a period of 5 days. So 5 days you need to do this experiment. You're going to measure the water level in the dish and the water level in the jar. So you're going to tape a piece of steel wool to the bottom of the jar, fill the dish about halfway with water, flip it upside down so that the jar is inverted in the dish, and then observe the water level in that jar over the course of 5 days, and also observe the steel wool and record what it looks like. At the end, you are going to balance this chemical equation, and you're going to tell us what type of reaction took place here. Remember, your 5 reaction types are going to be decomposition, synthesis, double or single displacement reactions, or combustion reactions. So those are the 5 choices that you have. Also then, write down the evidence that there was a chemical reaction. Oftentimes we can look at things like a formation of a precipitate. We can look at color changes, different smells, heat. Those types of things are indicative of chemical reactions. Your second experiment, you need hydrogen peroxide. This is just plain old 3% hydrogen peroxide you can buy over the counter, easy to find near the Band-Aids at the grocery store or at your local drugstore. Small pieces of raw potato. Okay, you can use yeast or beef liver. Potato's pretty easy to come by, so, and a small bowl. Here you're going to be looking at how the potato reacts, how the potato kind of changes the reaction of the hydrogen peroxide. So hydrogen peroxide naturally changes into water and oxygen. What type of chemical reaction is that? That's for you to find out. You need to balance that chemical equation. Remember, you can type right in the boxes here. And tell me again, is this going to be a decomposition, synthesis, a single or double displacement reaction, or a combustion reaction? And finally, what was the evidence that there was a reaction that took place? Lab number 3 here, you need to have a penny that is older than 1983 because those pennies are high in zinc. Pennies before 1983 were made primarily of copper. A metal file or coarse sandpaper because you're going to want to scratch off that coating. There's like a copper plating on the zinc penny. You want to remove that. And it should look silvery once you remove that and see the core of the penny. Then put the penny into a small jar of vinegar so the penny sits upright. Okay. It says this will allow the hydrogen gas to readily escape and increase the rate of the reaction. So if you're able to set the penny kind of up on its side, that works out real well. So try not to bump it because it will fall down, and allow the container to stand undisturbed for 30 minutes. You're going to observe and record the observations before and after that 30-minute time interval. Observations would be how it looks, any kind of effects that you might see. Is it getting hot? Is it bubbling? Is it changing color? Is the water changing color? Is the water becoming, cloudy? There's a lot of different things to look for in your observations. Okay. The next one, you're going to, I'm sorry, this is the same one still. Again, balance that chemical reaction. Vinegar is also known as acetic acid, so it gives you the chemical formula for acetic acid here. So balance it and then classify the reaction. Is it decomposition, synthesis, single or double displacement, or combustion? And again, finally, what evidence is it that this reaction was taking place? And I believe this is your last chemical reaction. You need to have magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salts. You can find those very easily near, it can be in a couple different places. You can find it kind of by the hydrogen peroxide in the store, but you could also find it like near the bathing aisle. If you have like bath salts and, bath oil and all that stuff, it's usually in that area. A lot of times they will have bath salts, which oftentimes are scented Epsom salts. Try to get the just regular old Epsom salts. They're pretty cheap. Don't just use table salt. You need the magnesium sulfate. Ammonia, you already have some of that. A small jar or cup and a measuring cup. Dissolve a teaspoon of Epsom salts in a half cup of water. 2 teaspoons of ammonia to the Epsom salt solution and stir thoroughly, and then record the observations. Okay, you're going to mix it and record after the initial appearance and then after 30 minutes. The other thing I would say is to make sure you also look at the initial appearance of both your Epsom salt mixture and your ammonia. Okay, and try not to get when you buy the ammonia, by the way, don't get the yellow stuff. Try to get the ammonia that's clear. That works a lot better. And then the appearance after 30 minutes. Again, balance the chemical equation. If you don't know how to do that, there are websites that you can use to practice, and I do have one of those on my website as well. And classify the reaction. Decomposition, synthesis, single or double displacement, or combustion. And finally, what was there to indicate that Epsom salts and ammonia reacted. So how do you know that a chemical reaction took place here? Remember, as always, guys, that this is a PDF file, and you cannot just type right into the PDF that is on the internet. You do need to right-click, Save As, and save this PDF to your computer, to your desktop, or something other place where you can find it easily. Then close it out, go back into your computer, open up that PDF file. Then you can type into it, save it again to your computer, and make sure that you are clicking on that saved file when you are attaching it to the Dropbox. Otherwise, it will just be blank. So hopefully you guys got that information. If you have any questions, feel free to call me at extension 2204, or you can send me a webmail message. Have a great day, everyone.